Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Connected by Community, sponsored by Ballantine Capital Advisors. I'm Brian Ballantine, and I'm here with Cameron Cannon. And we are excited today to have Mr. Braxton Wilson with us. So thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And so we were talking a little bit before the show, so we don't want to give it all away, but maybe for our audience that don't know you, tell us a little bit, tell them who you are and what you do for a living and where you come from. Are you from Greenville and all that kind of wonderful stuff?
Yeah. Again, my name is Braxton Wilson from here in Greenville. In a nutshell, I produce live events, concerts, festivals, corporate events. Have a company here called Palmetto Entertainment. We do amphitheaters, we do indoor concerts, we do multi-day festivals, kind of anything that revolves around celebrity entertainment is kind of what we do in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And are you from this area?
I am born and raised here in Simpsonville.
Really?
Yeah.
There's not many folks like that.
Yeah, there isn't. So it's cool to stick to the roots.
Everybody's coming from the north.
Yeah. Or west.
California.
Yeah, or west,
California, New York.
Yeah. So how'd you get into this business?
We'll pull it together in a small little time, but started went to Clemson University for college, undergrad. Was in a fraternity, did the whole social chair president realm of things. Had a big backyard, did the tailgates. After my social chair year, going into my president from my fraternity, we got kicked off campus along with multiple other fraternities. Allegations and kind of the whole 9 yards after a tragic event happened with another fraternity member. Anyways, kind of the long story short, had a lot of contracts booked with artists that were for tailgates and stuff, and they were in my name, being that I was social chair at the time. So now that we didn't have fraternal funds to use, kind of knew that I was contractually obligated to make these happen, or it was not going to look good for me. So made it work, got fraternities together, even though we weren't fraternities, so I had the house and stuff, kind of big bands at the time, you know, John Langston, Lanco, Kane Brown, just cool guys that at the time were nobody, but for college kids, it was, heck yeah, that's awesome. Had the stage built and kind of didn't know what I was doing. I was doing it to have a party, get people there, drinks, do the whole 9 yards, and kind of turn into a business. Kind of, I was seeing how much money I could raise on a normal Saturday afternoon. And after a lot of failures and mistakes, kind of learned the actual side of the business. Going into my junior year, started my company, Palmetto Entertainment. Did that through junior year, kind of the same thing, much smaller because I didn't have backup funds like fraternities do. So I was kind of playing it safe, but still having 4 or 5 events per semester. Did that, kind of grew into and the industry is very small. It's a few agents kind of run the entire country rock scene of things. So the bigger guys were still repped by the smaller guys as well. So did that, kind of started hanging out with guys like Scotty McCreery, Chris Jansen, Waka Flocka Flame, just cool college followed artists, and had a venue right in Anderson called Denver Downs Farm. So started producing shows there for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people after I kind of learned the good side of the business, how to legally do it and pay taxes. I don't know if I could put that on camera, but I did.
You're on it.
But did that and kind of just, again, learned by failure, kind of mistake after mistake, and learned how to do it the right way. Agents kind of had my back, even though I was 19, 20 years old, having no idea what I did, and held my hand through a lot of it. But it was awesome. Kind of just in a nutshell, they brought me to the right side, and from there, it's history.
That's awesome. That's very unique.
It is.
You know, when I hear about that, I just think about the entrepreneurism that took and, you know, the prosperity offered in this country for you to really take something that started maybe what sounds like with a tragic event, turn it into a responsibility you had, and then turn it into a job and a career and a passion.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm summarizing right.
No, dead on. No, that's exactly kind of, I don't want to say it fell in my lap because it didn't, but it fell in my lap and I didn't have a choice but to make it happen.
That is so cool.
So how, I mean, just to break some of that down, how did you even get in contact with, I guess, some of these, you know, larger artist agents or whoever you had to get in touch with? Was it just kind of like through mutual friends? Was it like, hey, I'm gonna reach out to you on social media and see if you'll come? Or I guess, how does that even work for, you know, somebody like myself who has no idea, you know, how that business works in the first place?
Yeah. So again, had no idea what I was doing. First time I knew a new band coming out. It was called Lanco. Had one hit on the radio and just cool guys. I followed them on all social medias and went on their Facebook one day, and you know, I was a little 19-year-old college kid. I was like, hey man, I would love you to come to Clemson and play for us. And they responded wildly and sent me like an agent's number. Didn't know what an agent was at the time. So I was like, yeah, I'll reach out. Tell them I have money. I'd love to have you guys. So I did that, shot them an email, and they got back to me and asked kind of what the event was, who was going to be there, how many people, production, kind of the whole 9 yards of making sure it was like a legit event and we had money to pay them. Which at the time I don't think we had money to pay them, but we told them we had money.
We had money.
Yeah,
we got all the money you need.
We have cash.
Big stage.
Absolutely,
everything.
yeah. So I think I exaggerated a lot on that email, but made it happen. Got in contact with the guys, had them for a show, and that's kind of what made me understand the artists do. I don't want to say they do nothing because they just don't know anything on the front lines. It's all agent-based, management-based, record label, publishing. It's all kind of the behind-the-scenes people that make them who they are on the stage, which is pretty cool.
So they just show up and just have a good time.
I could probably guess 90% of entertainment or artists have no idea where they are next weekend. It's all they get on that bus after the show and
all right, we're going up north.
absolutely.
Hop on.
No, it is. It's
So the real work's done behind the scenes.
all behind the scenes, which is cool. It's offices that are all around the world, Nashville, Vegas, out in LA. That's just grinding out with offers from all kind of promoters from the West Coast out here to the East Coast.
How does that work? So for Palmetto Entertainment, I'm assuming like, do you guys do all the backstage stuff too? Like the setup, the stage, like you're not just, booking him and then saying, all right, give me my paycheck. I'll see you next year. Like you're doing the whole 9 yards, seating. Can you walk through all that, I guess,
so
as well?
Different venues are, I guess, different responsibilities. So like here locally, CCNB Amphitheater, we run everything. So A to Z, we do the entertainment, we do the buying, we do the security to the ushers, to the cleaning crew. So we do it all. There's venues in Georgia that we have amphitheaters that we do just the talent buying and production. The new venue here, Cowboy Up, kind of all involved to that. So I guess it just depends kind of the deal that we have worked out. I definitely prefer having 100% of the venue because then you don't have multiple hands in the pot having to get permission or having to get kind of the go arounds of how you're going to do things. It just makes, I won't say more complicated, it just takes more time.
Yeah. And you can kind of work together with your own crew to, what's gonna happen from A to
and
Z.
you kind of can make the decision on what artist you want and kind of how much money you want to offer to make that artist happen compared to you have other financial interests into one pod. They kind of say, well, we can do this, but what if we don't sell this? So it's one of those that it's great all around. It's awesome making the show happen, but it definitely has its benefits.
One other question I have, and then I'll let you fire away is, so we're obviously in the finance business. In terms of getting the artists, is that something like, hey, I'm guaranteeing you, let's say X amount of dollars up front, and then you guys get the ticket sales and pay them through that? Or I guess, is there ticket sharing in terms of sales? How does that work? Are you just like guaranteeing up front, hey, I'm going to pay you this and pray to God that we make this happen because this is a big commitment? I guess, can you talk on that as well?
Yeah, so 99% of artists now, if they're over your local band, it's all a guarantee versus back end. So you'll go into it and say, hey, X name, I'll pay you $50,000 versus 85% of gross receipt after expenses. So let's say your house expenses, which is production, anything that makes the show happen, security, fencing, bike rack, whatever it may be. Let's say that's 30 grand. So you're on at 80 grand. So every dollar that you sell in tickets over 80 grand, the artist makes 85% on every dollar. Sometimes it's 90%, 90, 10. Obviously, in the promotion business, a lot of your income comes from the food and beverage side of things, mostly beverage. So a lot of people ask, what business are you in? I say the bar business, because in 90% of the scenarios, it is the bar business. But artists always win. But again, it's one of those things, if they're winning, you're winning, because if they're making the sales happen and they're popular, then you're going to sell beer and you're going to make money off the money that they're making you.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
It is.
So, So do you work just in this area? Do you work all over the Southeast? Where all do you do venues?
So the public side of things, so ticketed venues, is Georgia and South Carolina. I have a corporate sector of the company, so we do anything pretty much on the East, anyway from Florida up to Virginia, back and forth. So corporate's more your Christmas parties. They want to have Nelly or they want to have Flo Rida. They want to have just that cool act for their company. That's kind of when it comes to corporate events. That's as long as there's live entertainment there, we'll do it. If it's just a cocktail hour, I'm not going to get involved. I love the event planning process, but I don't love it that much.
Right. So it's going to be big names, probably big companies are willing to shell out a lot of money.
Correct. Dealerships, big attorney firms, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I got to ask, you don't have to tell the name, but what's some of the more unusual requests or do you get them that, hey, the artist will come, but they're kind of a prima donna or whatever you want to call it. And they want purple M&Ms or whatever you hear in the news.
The M&M story, a lot of promoters make a joke of it. They've never had it happen. The first actual show I had here in Simpsonville when I took over the amphitheater. The rider, again, I knew what the industry was. I'd never seen anything of this scale. I mean, I had done your $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 acts, but this was a completely new level to me. So I kind of went into this boat. It was a rider 9 pages long. And I was like, there's 4 people in the band. Well, what could they do with 9 pages worth of stuff?
And the riders like the stuff they're asking.
The riders, yeah, like their green room asked what they want for the bus stock. Was 180 green M&Ms. So only and first show I've ever done, big wise. The last show it ever happened. It's never happened again, but it was funny that I've actually been able to tell the story. I won't say the name. Yeah. But one of the biggest artists right now on the planet, on every genre, but he's calmed down, surprisingly. A lot of those artists, they get so hot so quick that they think that they can just ask for the road. They can because
I mean, is some of that a joke though? Even it's like, are they serious? I mean, they're asking for it. Obviously, you got to do it or whatever if it's contractual. But is it just to see if you'll do it?
A lot of it is to see how much they can get by with. A lot of it now, you can go to the when you advance the show or kind of go over the details for the show a few weeks out. You can say, listen, be real to me. What is your real rider? What do you want? Right. What are you going to use? And it goes from 5 pages long to 1 page long.
Right.
So it's really just about asking the question. A lot of promoters, especially they're new, like me for 5 years, I had no idea what I was doing. So I would give them everything they asked plus some.
181 green M&Ms for this guy. Just for you, buddy.
No,
ask for 180.
Yeah.
No, there's some funny stories and some stuff probably not for the camera, but some stuff it's just, it's good. A lot of them are respectful. There's been a few that, again, they're selling their high horse and they're not going to be respectful, but most of the artists are great. You don't see them much. They're on their bus to the stage, back on the bus or to the flight. Overall, it's been good experiences.
Yeah. What's been, so far, if you don't mind telling us, what's been the biggest or your favorite artist so far that you maybe have worked with?
Coming out of college, I got super lucky. I was mutual buddies with the guys who started the company Old Row. With that, Old Row was kind of the hottest thing at the time. Luke Combs was just becoming the biggest star alive. He had just dropped Hurricane, hit #1. His management asked Old Row to put on a summer tour for him to kind of kick off. He's alive. This guy's going to crush it. He's going to be the biggest thing. So he said, yeah, let's do it. So put Luke Combs right out of college, kind of still learning what I was doing. I partnered up with a guy in Charleston, kind of put on, again, small size events, but this was kind of something that we had never done before, a multi-tour event with a guy like Luke Combs who could sell an arena still at the time, but just something that we, again, learned as we were going, but super down-to-earth guy still is. Would sit there and talk to you for hours, tell you his life story. His wife's amazing. So he's probably one of the top 3, I would say, who is still, again, one of the most relevant guys in music, especially country music, but just a cool guy to be around.
That's huge, man. I've been to a bunch of your shows, obviously, and that's really cool, man. That's cool to hear.
Yeah, and I bet you in your business, you get to see a lot of unique personalities and behind the scene things that, again, you probably can't say a lot of them on camera, but I bet you get to hear a lot of interesting stories.
A lot of stories.
One thing I wanted to hit on too is I know me and you are friends outside of this, and we're both kind of young and entrepreneurial. Can you talk about, obviously, you had some really good success in college. You kind of had that thing, happen, and you were like, man, I got to make this work. What, what is some success stories and maybe some failures that you've had that have kind of pushed you to the next level? Or can you talk to maybe some other folks that, are maybe about to get out of college that are trying to be entrepreneurial, kind of like yourself, and, kind of what that's looked like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of what I tell people all the time that ask me, like, what would you tell me to do leaving college to, like, start my own business? And I've always tell them it's not really about you, but it's who you put yourself around. So always be the best person at what you're best at and own up to it. Own up what you can do, what you're best at doing, and surround yourself with others that do stuff better than you at other things. So kind of my partnership at Heritage Park, we have 3 guys in my partnership. We're all the third partners, and I do the entertainment, I do the production, I do the advancing of shows, anything that revolves the artist. One of them does everything that revolves bookkeeping, contracts, accounting. And the other guy's kind of on the front lines of stages. So he makes sure security is going to be there, food and beverage is set up. So it's really, I think it's a puzzle. It's kind of one of those that make sure you're not going to be every piece of the puzzle. Make sure that you have those pieces to complete the puzzle, because without it, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be successful. So overall, like getting out of college, I would just say, learn from people that you inspire to be like, taking everything that you can from teachers, from guys who own companies to guys that just work at companies, but they know different aspects of business better than you. One day you might be in that position, but don't try to own up to something that you might not be best at the time. I definitely recommend more than anything, just when you start a company, don't try to do it all by yourself.
Yeah. So really just kind of humble yourself and understand you don't know everything and kind of learn from others. And
absolutely
and
build your team around kind of how you want the success story to look like.
And I'd like to piggyback on that because my children could be watching.
Yeah.
You know, if I were to die tomorrow, they will have heard me say this 5 million times. I always say life's about relationships and the relationships you build. And so that's part of what I'm hearing there. Build relationships with others that can build you up or that you can build them up. And it's not necessarily always to get something out of everyone, but it's that we can make everyone better. And whether it's your teacher, leaving a good relationship there, it's not just about getting a grade. You may need to have a communication later to help them, or they may need to help you. And even if you don't think the best of someone, make the best of that relationship. So that's what I'm hearing there, and I love to hear that. And you know, from the business, it's always interesting doing these podcasts. I don't care if you're in the entertainment business, if you're in the financial business, you're in the healthcare business. I think there's one universal thing is those relationships then need to be funneled to be the most productive, right? And that's really what you're saying. Be good at what you're doing. And we see that financial planning. You know, seeing a relationship. Hey, we're really good at what we're doing, but we're not attorneys.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be an attorney, right? I can know a little bit about law enough to know, hey, I need to get an attorney. Or we need, you know, I don't know everything about healthcare. I need to get a physician involved or some kind of medical insurance provider. And that's what I'm hearing there. So I always think that's really cool. You know, for those that have followed our podcast, I just continually hear these similarities. That's kind of so I think it's a life concept, you know, relationships and be good at what you're good at.
Absolutely. No, definitely. My dad always told me it's get your education and learn, but it's always your success story is going to come from the hands you shake.
Absolutely.
So I definitely spot on. He told me at a young age, and it is definitely true. And everything I feel like that from all my friends that have kind of had success stories to the guys that I've met, it's all about who I've met along the way after the education.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool.
One question I wanted to hit on too is, do you have any upcoming shows that, you know, I know you announced a bunch this week that you're super excited about that maybe you want to tell our audience to kind of look out for in the future? Yeah,
no, I mean, one festival that we started 2019, it was first year 2020, COVID canceled us. We came back last year. And then third year is Greenville Country Music Fest. So this year it's a 2-day event out at Heritage Park in Simpsonville. 2 stages, 20-something acts. It's we're excited. I've been working on this one harder than I think I've ever worked on a concert or a lineup in my life. Probably 2 of the hottest acts in music industry right now that we were fortunate enough to land. And it's gonna be awesome. It's November 5th and 6th. Tickets go on sale in 2 weeks. So
nice.
Yeah.
November 5th and 6th. And are you able to tell us who those are yet?
No, I can't do that. We're going to announce half the lineup next Friday, which first is being told here. No one even knows the lineup's getting dropped next Friday. The rest of the lineup.
Big announcement.
It is.
Nice.
There's my daughter's going to be asking me, can we go?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we just announced the actual dates this morning. And we haven't even, so we're announcing the lineup next Friday, the remaining of the lineup the following Monday, and then tickets go on sale that Tuesday.
Well, thank you for not doing it in July because it's a little hot right now.
Yeah, no, I have a festival next weekend with Hank Williams Jr. and kind of that old 80s, 90s country.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a hot one.
Oh, so funny story with that. I got to tell you this. So, don't know if you know the song, Morgan Wallen. I don't think Jesus would have done it that way.
Yeah.
So my daughter's a big fan, right? And she's a teenager, but that's like probably her favorite musician. And it's got this, I think it's in it, something about Bocephus. I think that's I got the right song. And she says, Bocephus, and she thinks it's a drink. She goes, Dad, what kind of, and she likes country music, right? And she likes other stuff, but probably because that's what I listen to with her. But she says, what's Bocephus? What kind of drink is that?
That is awesome.
And so I said, baby, that's not a drink. That's Hank Williams Jr. She said, who's Hank Williams Jr.? And I said, honey, he's a very famous guy. And there's a lot of songs about him drinking and his dad. And then we had all, and she didn't believe me. So she looks it up on the phone, right? And she goes, you're right, Dad. I really thought that was a drink.
That's great. That's
so
awesome.
That's kind of cute.
No, that is. That's awesome.
So
that's great.
Yeah. Anyway, and speaking of Margot, I mean, when he came here, some of these acts, not just him, ticket prices have kind of soared, right? So let's maybe talk. Inflation affects everything. I'm sure your cost you're having to pay from security to whatever has gone up. Has that affected events, whether it is a hot act like a Morgan Wallen or whoever that might? I don't know who you could probably tell me who the hot acts are.
Yeah.
But have you seen prices soaring for all events and especially the hot ones?
Absolutely. I mean, gas prices, trucking prices. I mean, a lot of these buses and tours, they'll come in on 8, 10 semis, 5 or 6 tour buses. I mean, they're going 400 or 500 miles a night. So overall, I mean, I would say 20, 25% on the talent alone. So, I mean, you're at a $100,000 tour. I mean, you're at $125,000, $30,000, $40,000 now from a year ago, which is crazy to think about. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it all comes down to the bottom line. I mean, the promoter's not going to risk more now just because the prices went up. So they have to get the money back somewhere. So, yeah, I mean, prices overall, it's not just that their artist prices are staying the same, because everything overall is going up, and it definitely reflects in the prices of tickets, which is kind of scary, because how high can they go? Who knows?
Do y'all have trouble too? I know with prices rising, like getting people to actually work the events, like from security to bartenders and stuff like that. Have you seen a struggle there as well?
We do. No, absolutely. We most of our venues, we try to outsource everything. So we're liability wise, it's kind of, hey, we know who to point fingers at if something happens. So security, we have a company. Bartenders, we have a company. Gate staff, we have a company. But no, every week, every show, we get a call from each of these companies. Hey, we're short 7, we're short 8. So we're having to find subs now to come in and fill those spots, which is makes our life
that's
more
not stressful at all, right?
Lord, having to retrain 8, 10, 12 guys a week is becoming a timely business.
Yeah, I think with the market in general, the economy is just at such an interesting time that, yeah, I mean, we can see it going in every business. It's even the entertainment business. It's kind of crazy to see.
Well, I'm curious, we're hopefully finishing up this whole COVID thing. Everybody wants it behind it, but have you seen an explosion in demand just because people didn't do so? I mean, I'm assuming there was a little bit of a dip, at least for a year and a half too.
Yeah.
Are people like, hey man, I want to do something?
Yeah, no, I mean, so we shut down for 14 months, didn't do anything, not one concert. And coming back, it was unbelievable. We had a Travis Tritt show last May, kind of the first show that was announced for anything over 500 people, I think. And we had 4,500, 5,000 people. And he doesn't normally sell that kind of ticket. So it was just, wow, this is how it's always going to be. But it definitely has caught back up. I think it's I don't want to say oversaturated, but I mean, you go on Facebook and type in concert, there is 40 concerts, 50 concerts a month in every market. So I mean, it's definitely, everyone's touring now, which I don't know if that helps or is worse, but money-wise, ticket-wise, I think there's less tickets being bought to more of the up-and-coming stuff, more of the smaller names that are trying to make it. And you see way more of the Alan Jacksons, the Morgan Wallens, the Luke Combs selling out because people are wanting to spend all their money on these shows because there are multiple shows of these calibers to every month compared to 4 or 5 club shows or whatever it may be.
What is a ticket to like I mean, I don't even know personally, like just a standard ticket to a Morgan Wallen or a Luke Combs or an Alan Jackson, like somebody that you work with that's, fairly high level and on the radio a good bit. What does something like that even cost?
I mean, if you're in an arena where you're getting a reserve seat, you're getting air conditioning, you're anywhere from, if you can get them, like Morgan Wallen sold out in 4 minutes. I mean, if you can get them, you'll get them from $55 to $200, $250. Wow. Resale value is $250 to $5,000.
So most people are probably getting them on resale because
90%
there's some professional buying them up before they.
Oh yeah, StubHub, all these big companies, they'll go in and they have so many bots and everything that can right away just take tickets right off the market, which is hard. I mean, a lot of artists have gotten smart now where they won't release your ticket scan to your app until 24 hours for the show. So they're getting smart, not allowing these companies to do it because they can't resell it until they have a barcode. So it's been.
Is that helping?
It's helping. No, it is. Scammers for sure have cut down a huge bit. It's a little harder when you have a very, very large show and you're buying in groups. So it has your benefits. It has your downside for sure. But as far as like the overall scamming side where people can make fake tickets and fake barcodes, it's cut down because you can't sell a barcode you don't have. Has it helped the resale value? I don't think it's helped a ton there.
That's actually something I didn't even think about asking. What about like Clemson football games, for example? You always hear these horror stories of people buying, spending hundreds of dollars outside the gate. They go to scan it, it's a fake ticket. Have you seen that with the entertainment side as well? And I guess could you talk on that? Is there any way to? I mean, obviously you said they don't give out barcodes, but do you see that in your line of work as well?
Oh yeah, there's social media and emails only go so far. You can only put so many disclaimers out there that we're a Ticketmaster facility or we're an Eventbrite facility. Only tickets purchased from this company will be guaranteed, I guess, more or less. But if you're ever buying from someone on the street, there's no way you can guarantee the ticket. So it's more or less just becoming aware that spend the extra $10
to buy a legit
ticket on a verified site instead of going on Facebook Marketplace or going on Craigslist. Just try to be smart because we have it every concert, 30, 40 people we have to turn away. And it sucks, but it's one of those things that we can't give you a seat that says your ticket on that someone actually bought the ticket for.
And they're sitting there screaming at you.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, saying this. We were told this ticket's real. And,
Well, and it's probably buyer beware, right? I mean, if you found a Luke Combs ticket that was a floor seat and air conditioning, and it was $45. That's probably not right? I mean,
if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right?
No, yeah. On your Greenville Facebook Marketplace, if they're selling 8 tickets for $50 or $100, then definitely report that one.
They just needed the money, right?
They need the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ASAP.
Scammers are getting good though. I mean, we get screenshots sent all the time. Like, is this a real ticket? I'm like, holy cow, it looks identical. I mean, even the barcode's almost identical. And it's,
how are? I mean, do you even know? Like, how are they doing that? Is just they're printing it? Is it just all virtual?
most is virtual now. They
Virtual.
just say, I'll transfer your ticket to you as soon as I get the money. So a lot of the apps, Ticketmaster, you can do it you can buy it within the app. A lot of them you don't have that capability. So you have to Venmo, or you have to once you do that, you're gonna block them and you're never gonna see the person again.
Yep.
So it's one of those that you lose your money and you're done. They'll send you the ticket, but the ticket's not gonna be real.
Yeah. You get the ticket, but you're gonna get turned away at the door.
Some Crayola on a piece of paper is what you're gonna get.
God, that's scary.
No, it is.
So what's this thing I hear about the Reedy River Grand Ball? What's that all about?
Yeah, started that event a few years back. My partner that I kind of went out of college with did a big New Year's Eve event in Charlotte. All inclusive, multiple stages, kind of like a music festival, but a formal, all you can drink, all you can eat atmosphere. Always loved doing kind of that high energy, high demand, look good event. And after he did that event, that was the last year he was doing it. And that's kind of when I went on my own and stepped away from his partnership and started my own 100%. And moved here. Obviously, he was from Greenville. There was nothing really like it. There was a few events. I don't want to say they targeted more of your just, I want the nice dining. I don't really care about the entertainment. There was nothing to target your young professional. So research, kind of looked at some event venues and found this open floor plan event venue, which I started at the Westfield, which is no longer the venue, but took off. I mean, at that event had one stage, over 1,000 people, just kind of your formal wear, had the aerialists hanging from the ceiling, your ice luges, your just your fun, again, something that you go to a club to do, but a very nice club. So Greenville has nothing like that. There was no competition. So it's grown since, and it's been a really cool path.
Yeah, I went to the one last year. It was fantastic. It's all, like you said, really, high and young professionals and even some older people in there.
There is.
Yeah, dressed up nice, good food, good entertainment, a bunch of different stages. If you want like country or you want hip hop or you want EDM, it's kind of all over the place.
Last year I bought in like the 80s, 90s rock band, did like a dueling piano room. It was at the Hyatt Regency downtown, we're doing it again this year there. So I was able to target more than just your 21 to 30 year olds. I was able to kind of, there's no one too old.
Right.
21 is just as young as you can come. But
yeah, as long as you can drink.
Yeah, as long as you can legally drink, then it was for you. It was cool. It was sold out, successful first year being there. Coming back this year and kind of making things bigger and better.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. That sounds cool. Well, I've learned a lot. It's been it's been a cool experience having you on here. We never had someone in the entertainment industry. We've had all kinds of wonderful things. So thank you for sharing. I know Cameron wants to ask one more kind of our signature question. So he's going to hit you up with that.
Yeah.
Let you out of here.
So we always like to ask, what makes you tick?
What makes you tick? What makes you tick?
Yeah.
What makes me tick is just knowing in my industry, success in my eyes is looking out in the crowd during a show and seeing people just living their lives, not worrying about work tomorrow, not worrying about work yesterday, just knowing that they're in their place where they want to be at that time. So just knowing that next show is going to bring that excitement, that getaway, that pathway to something that you don't get anywhere else, which is live music.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, thanks for sharing with us. And if folks out there do have a corporate event and they're watching this and they wanted to reach out to you about a corporate event, where could they find more about your company?
Yeah, I have all the social media, Palmetto Entertainment. My email is braxton@palmettoentertainment.com. All my venues have individual pages, so anything that had a certain menu, you can reach out there as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. And thanks, everyone, for watching today. And certainly reach out to us on social media, all the various podcast platforms. Until we see you next time, go out and make our community great. Thank you.